JD here, just another quick rant before I hit the sack on a Friday night. Gail, my wife, myself and I went out for dinner tonight to one of the major shopping centres on the Gold Coast, and we went into a restaurant at 8:10, and we were about the only other couple. Well, there was one other couple in there, and I'll show you what the restaurant looked like. Give me a second. Okay. If you're a business owner, this is not what you want. Okay. And the guy comes up to service and he says to us, what can you have? What do you want? And so forth. I said to him, mate, what's the problem here? It's Friday night, for goodness sake. Cinemas are not far away. The picture theatre cinemas are not far away from them. And he said, oh, look, it's just a slow night of the week. And I said, Friday night, you should be jammed. He said, yeah, I don't know why, but we're not. And anyway, I said to him, I couldn't help myself being in the marketing game. I ranted and raved to him about the absolute value of collecting data. And I said to him, are you going to, collect data? And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, if you collected data of all of the people who have been coming to this restaurant in the last, 6 months or 12 months, you could then send out a text message this afternoon at 5 o'clock inviting them to come for dinner and getting a special bonus, okay? And then, of course, when they come in, you upsell them and make more money. And he went, wow, that's a good idea. I said, yeah, no, we have a client in, the Institute of Wow.com. We're all into marketing, and we have a client down in Melbourne who has an upmarket seafood restaurant. And we stopped him from advertising $500,000 worth of, wasting money on radio advertising in Melbourne and newspaper advertising. And we just incentivised his wait staff, waiters and waitresses, with a 50-cent incentive that for every person that came to that restaurant, they just basically handed out a little name and address about the size of the palm of their hand, a little name and not address, name, email and phone number entry form to win dinner for 6 of their friends at the end of the month. And then basically everyone who came into the restaurant basically filled that out. And of course, I used basically too often, haven't I? As it turned out, at the end of the month, they draw someone who won the dinner for 6. And he's up to 92,000 on his database at the moment. And he's the only restaurant in the world who's booked out every single night of the year, because all that happens is that he walks in the mid-afternoon and says to his secretary, look, how many seats? About 180 are full. She says 100. And he said, well, you better send out one of JD's. That's me, text messages to offer them a special lobster tail meal for 2 for $68. And of course, no one leaves that restaurant less than $200 because they upsell. A bottle of water, I think, is $20. And he's full every night of the year. And that's because he's collected data and he's able to send that data out to his database and offer them a special deal if they come in tonight. And basically, I don't know where that word's come from. I'm not going to say basically again, all right? Essentially, what he does is send out of the 92,000 list that he has now, he might send out, 1,000, 2,000 text messages this afternoon saying he has a special offer tonight at the seafood restaurant. And then within 10 minutes, his secretary walks back in and says, we're all booked out. 80 seats, bang, like that, for free. When I free, 5 cents, 6 cents, 7 cents a text message, but I think it's a pretty good return on investment because he collected data. And so tonight when I went to this restaurant, let me flick the camera around again and show you, that's Friday night. That is tragic, absolutely tragic. There's one other couple there. And I said to him, look, you've got to collect data. I think he was the owner, and he said to me, oh, great idea, fantastic. Guess what happened? That was a great idea. When we left, do you think he asked us for our details? No, he just waved goodbye. And of course I just said, well, what a dickhead, what a complete moron, because I'm giving him gold in terms of the advice. I'm not saying it's anything particularly special, it's just common sense to collect data, for God's sake. But you know what? Common sense being what it is not so common. McDonald's had 1.7 million people go through their restaurants today. They never collected any name or contact details. Bunnings don't collect anything. Woolworths don't collect anything. Coles don't collect anything. Michelle's Patisserie, Baker's Delight. I could go through every possible bricks and mortar business that you could think of, and they don't collect data. Bang, nuts, crazy. And so I just thought I'd have a rant before I hit the sack on a Friday night. It's just that this is just driving me nuts when you go into businesses and you can see how quickly you could turn them around. I said to him, I guess it was somewhat boastful, but I said to him, mate, I could pack this restaurant on a Friday night within a fortnight. If you give me 2 weeks, I can jam this place. Because the other thing that I would do is probably use Facebook and pump out a whisper word every afternoon so that if someone came in and whispered that word, they got a special bonus. He said, how does that work? Easy. You would on Friday, or any day you like, but let's just say Friday, if you want to fill Friday nights, you would actually have a whisper word, and that whisper word for today might be, sunshine. And if someone comes in between 5 and 7:30 at night and whispers the word sunshine, they will get a free whatever or a bonus whatever at your restaurant. And he said, wow. I said, look, I didn't dream this up. It came from a company in America called Sprinkles Cupcakes. And every morning at 5 and 6 a.m., they actually post a whisper word on social media. And today, let's say it was hello. If you walk into a Sprinkles cupcake store anywhere in America and you mention the word hello, then you'll get a free cupcake. Guess what? They have a queue around the block of people lined up to whisper today's word. And 72% of people who get the free cupcake actually buy coffee, a bagel, or more cupcakes. They're going to do that every day of the week. It's so simple for these businesses to turn their business around, particularly in tough times. I mean, it's not easy at the moment. You can see a lot of restaurants are empty. And I'm not just saying restaurants, just businesses in general do not collect data. Anyway, if you'd like to know more about this stuff, this direct response marketing stuff, which, by the way, only 5% of the businesses in the world actually use. Most of them are too busy sponsoring basketball teams or football teams or putting silly ads on the side of buses or the backs of taxis. If you're interested to know more about this, you might like to go to my webinar, Blatant Pitch, okay? And there's nothing sold on the webinar. It's not like we take you through and then we have a big pitch at the end of it. You can just simply go to the webinar, learn all this direct response stuff, and it is at wowmysales.com, okay? There's no AU to it, so it's just com, okay? So wowmysales.com, and if you go there, you might like to just learn a whole bunch of this direct response stuff. Why am I doing it? Sampling, and you should be doing the same thing. If you own a business, just pump out sampling, and you should be doing it via means like this, whether it's Facebook Live or whether it happens to be paid advertising, as in PPC, pay-per-click advertising, but you should be sending people to a sales page or a webinar so that they can hopefully digest more of your stuff, and then maybe they might be interested in doing business with you. So that's the reason I'm doing this. Anyway, enough for a Friday night. I feel much better now that I've had that little rant. I've got that out of my system. And again, if you'd like to see more of this, then just go to wowmysales.com. Over and out. Have a good weekend.